Continuing now on Newsmax Prime, you might want to call them bushwhackers, former cabinet officials who served previous Presidents Bush, but who've now endorsed Hillary Clinton. Among them, General Brent Scowcroft, National Security Advisor to Bush 41, and Hank Paulson, Treasury Secretary for Bush 43. Now, another former cabinet secretary to George W. Bush has defected to the Democrats. Miranda Kahn has more.
JD, a former Jeb Bush supporter, does something not even Jeb himself has done: support Hillary Clinton.
I think a Trump presidency, in spite of the fact that he's a Republican, is dangerous. And I think it's time to think about the country over party.
Carlos Gutierrez, who served under President George W. Bush.
I am proud to announce my nomination of Carlos Gutierrez to be America's next Secretary of Commerce.
Just joined the long list of so-called establishment Republicans who were saying no to a Trump presidency.
I made the decision not to support Trump during that infamous week where he combined the comments about the Mexican judge, Curiel, and then when he said "my African American" at his rally. That, for me, was the end of it.
While Gutierrez's decision may come as no surprise to some, considering no one from the Bush family has formally backed Trump, throwing his support to Trump's rival is.
I have a decision to make. I have two resumes in front of me: Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. I'm going with this one, Hillary Clinton.
Gutierrez, who once backed Jeb as a Republican nominee for president, says he will now back Hillary Clinton, even going as far as saying this.
I actually think that Hillary Clinton has the experience. She's been around. She knows how the system works. I think she'd make a darn good president.
And Gutierrez has also strongly come out against Trump's economic strategy, saying it focuses too much on protectionism and lower taxes and not enough on job creation. JD, back to you.
Thanks, Miranda. Job creation for who, we might ask? Carlos Gutierrez, what he likes about Hillary, quote, darn good president. She's going to have amnesty the first 100 days. Anyway, Miranda, thanks for that story. A reminder, you can join us in our conversation by calling 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. To talk more about bushwhackers and other renegade Republicans, and also about the speech given this afternoon by Mr. Trump, I'm pleased to call on my old congressional colleague, Michael Patrick Flanagan. Mike's now the president of Flanagan Consulting. You can read his political blogs at flanaganconsulting.com. And of course, he joins us tonight from Newsmax, Washington. So this is one you could see coming a mile away, MPF. Carlos Gutierrez, all the open borders types, they're all going for Hillary because she's all in on amnesty.
Carlos who? I'm sorry. I just learned more about Carlos Gutierrez from Miranda Kahn than I never knew about Carlos Gutierrez when he was in W's administration, and I was in this town during that time. It's an endless list of internationalists, globalists that have hooked their wagon to Bush, to others, who want to be sure that when that group comes back around in charge of the Republican Party, where they've placed their bets it's going to happen, they're positioned to do well. And many of their clients, these guys are all earning a living. They're not just sitting on a shelf somewhere. These guys are earning a living. And many of their clients in this town are Silicon Valley and other folks who thrive on open borders and internationalism. And they're doing well by their clients by endorsing Hillary, because she's going to make them lots and lots of money at our expense.
Let's go now to a caller who's checking in from a place where, sadly, amnesty is basically taken place. That would be California and its capital city, Sacramento. Our caller is Irene. Irene, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Hi, hello. First-time caller and first-time voter. And I don't believe in socialism. I don't believe in open borders. I used to live in a country where terrorism exists. They kill thousands and thousands of people everywhere. And Mr. Trump is right. If there is no law, there is no order. People need to assimilate and learn the language. And I believe that doesn't mean that you are racist. It just means to follow the rules, follow the laws.
Irene, your comments ring true, and what you are saying is, A, you played by the rules, you came here legally, And you also help dispel what we call the myth of the monolith, the fact that if you're an immigrant or someone from south of our border, you're instantly in favor of the Democrats. That's not the case, and we appreciate you checking in. Now, Mike, I want to get to some of Trump's speech because it echoes what Irene was talking about with her very perceptive comments. Trump today, in talking about taking the fight to ISIS, when it comes to immigration, wants to implement a new screening process he calls extreme vetting. Let's look and listen.
In the Cold War, we had an ideological screening test. The time is overdue to develop a new screening test for the threats we face today. I call it extreme vetting. I call it extreme vetting. Our country has enough problems. We don't need more. And these are problems like we've never had before. In addition to screening out all members of the sympathizers of terrorist groups, we must also screen out any who have hostile attitudes toward our country or its principles, or who believe that Sharia law should supplant American law. Those who do not believe in our Constitution or who support bigotry and hatred will not be admitted for immigration into our country. Only those who we expect to flourish in our country and to embrace a tolerant American society should be issued visas. To put these new procedures in place, we will have to temporarily suspend immigration from some of the most dangerous and volatile regions of the world that have a history of exporting terrorism.
Your reaction to that, Mike Flanagan?
I love to talk immigration with liberals because they whine immediately about how we don't have a comprehensive policy. In 1996, you remember, J.D., we passed a comprehensive immigration reform. I sat on the House Judiciary Committee. I helped write that bill. There's a wall in that bill, by the way. Congress has paid for it twice since, never got built. Immigration is entirely up to the citizenry, who we let come live in our house and who we don't let come live in our house. There are lots of ways to help refugees around the world, writing checks, helping them out with multinational corporations to provide for them in many different ways. And the most extreme way we can have to help them is to invite them to live in our home. But there's certain hills you have to climb to be able to do that, in my opinion. And Mr. Trump agrees that those hills have to be at least that you agree with us, that you want to be part of our society, not radically and fundamentally change our society. And we've moved to a place where we call people who want to preserve the unique American society bigots. Well, we're not bigots. We simply aren't. We just believe we have a society worth preserving, and it doesn't need radical alteration as the world spins off on its axis.
Speaking of the world, Mike, I just got to interrupt here because there's something else we need to hear. Trump taking aim at Hillary, comparing her to another world leader. Let's look and listen.
In short, Hillary Clinton wants to be America's Angela Merkel. And you know what a disaster this massive immigration has been to Germany and the people of Germany. Crime has risen to levels that no one thought they would ever see. It is a catastrophe.
Mike, final 15 seconds are yours.
Germany is an ancient culture, and she is diluting it with other cultures to come in. I think the Germans won't put up with it for very long. And also, Angela has much better pantsuits than Hillary does.
All right, a fashion note for Michael Patrick Flanagan to end that. My problems with that test, guys can lie on the test, but I'm pleased to see Trump is taking a tougher stand. When we come back, Diamond and Silk. Stay with us.